There is a country where children practice football on the subtropical red dirt roads of the north, always dreaming of a shot that will shake the giant ice walls at the edge of frigid Patagonia. Where the smoke from barbecues blends with the incense smoke from the Difunta Correa shrines in the hot desert. And where people burst into tears upon seeing Messi lifting the glorious golden trophy alongside the legendary figure of Maradona. That is Argentina, where football is not a game, but a religion that saves souls consumed by burning passion. A country that produces the most brilliant minds on the pitch, yet struggles to find a way out for its own economy in the real world. If you want to understand the madness of the modern world, you do not look at Wall Street. You look at a country shaped like a jagged knife carving in the bottom of the globe. This is Argentina, a place where the value of money vanishes overnight, but where a golden trophy can save 45 million souls from absolute despair. Right now, the economy here is a burning house. In the grocery stores of Buenos Aires, elderly pensioners stare at price tags and weep quietly because the money in their pockets just lost half its value while they were walking down the aisle. But walk outside and you will see something that defies all logic. 5 million people are choking the avenues. Traffic is dead. Up on a giant tour bus, a man named Lionel Messi lifts a golden trophy toward the heavens. In that exact second, the tears of financial panic turn into screams of pure ecstasy. Football is not a pastime here. It is a secular religion, a spiritual anesthesia on the ruins of a collapsing economy. The soul of Diego Maradona, the slum boy who conquered empires with his feet, still haunts every dusty alleyway, while Messi's tears of coronation become a collective baptism for a broken nation. How can a land so fragile in its banks be so indomitable in its spirit? To find the answer, you have to realize that this human extremity is mirrored by the land itself. The geography of Argentina does not do moderation. It only knows a terrifying, violent scale of beauty. You can start your journey in the far north, suffocated by the humid, dense green canopy of the Yunga's cloud forests, where the trees literally trap the mist of the heavens. And end up at the very bottom of the map in Tierra del Fuego, a frozen, desolate world brutally swept by the relentless winds of the Southern Ocean. This country is defined by the absolute limits of nature. In the northeast, the continent seems to tear itself apart at the Iguazu Falls. At a giant horseshoe-shaped abyss called the Devil's Throat, hundreds of separate waterfalls smash down into a colossal chasm simultaneously. The sheer volume of water creates a perpetual, localized storm. The ground beneath your boots vibrates violently. The air is choked with a blinding white mist. Human words are completely swallowed by the brutal roar. But short-circuit your senses and travel west into the high deserts of Jujuy, where the landscape shifts from liquid chaos to an explosion of high-contrast visuals. The Hornacal mountain chain juts into the sky like a jagged sawtooth, bleeding 14 distinct, hyper-saturated shades of red, green, and yellow, cooked by time in an ancient marine graveyard. Right next to this violent blast of color lies the Salinas Grandes. It is a stark white salt desert so flat and vast that the horizon loses all depth, and your eyes completely lose all sense of perspective. When the rare rains fall, a razor-thin sheet of water covers the salt, turning the entire region into a giant, flawless mirror where the sky and the earth dissolve into one beautiful, disorienting void. Yet, the ultimate theater of awe and destruction lies deep within Patagonia. Here, the Perito Moreno and Spigazini glaciers stand like monstrous white fortresses. Their ice walls, as tall as 20-story buildings, cut right through the turquoise lake waters. They are alive. They move. You stand in the freezing wind, testing your patience against the elements, just like the climbers at Mount Fitzroy in El Chalten. For them, it means routinely trekking for 8 brutal hours through rain and wind, all just to pray for a few fleeting minutes of clear skies when the clouds finally melt away from the rocky peak. And then, at the glacier, it happens. A sound like a tactical airstrike echoes across the dead silence. A skyscraper-sized slab of ancient blue ice cracks, nuts to pieces, and crashes violently into the lake, sending a massive wave rushing toward the shore. In Argentina, whether you are looking at the economy, the football stadiums, or the edge of the world, human existence is always dwarfed by something magnificently extreme. How does a nation blessed with everything become so fragile? To understand this paradox, your first gateway is Buenos Aires. The city spreads out beside the wide Rio de la Plata, with sweeping avenues, green parks, and majestic architectural blocks that closely mimic the romantic streets of Paris or Madrid. It feels stable, elegant, and timeless. But drop down to the pavement, and that European formality hits a wall of raw, chaotic reality. The elegance dissolves into the sharp blare of car horns, buses rushing through tight intersections, and a relentless undercurrent of survival tension. On these beautiful tree-lined streets, luxury and vigilance live side by side. Locals walk with their eyes scanning the crowds. Phones are hidden deep beneath shirts or tucked away into zipped pockets for fear of quick-fingered pickpockets. The city forces you to practice love and constant suspicion at the exact same time. This tension is not paranoia. It is the direct psychological symptom of a broken financial system. Argentina was once one of the wealthiest nations on the planet, fueled by an endless sea of fertile agricultural land, massive cattle exports, oil, and now a global treasure trove of lithium. Yet, entering the 20th century, the country stepped into an economic loop it could not break. Crisis followed crisis. Public debt swelled. The peso crashed. Today, the value of the money in your pocket can literally mutate overnight. Because nobody trusts the banks, survival becomes a daily mathematical puzzle. Everyday citizens are forced to trade their pesos for US dollars, gold, or real estate just to ensure their savings do not evaporate by next month. The human cost of this cycle is heartbreaking. Elderly retirees who spent their entire lives working must stand in grocery aisles meticulously calculating the price of every single item just to survive the week. Meanwhile, the younger generation faces a suffocating choice, trapped in a state of emotional limbo. Do they pack their bags, leave their families, and chase a stable future somewhere else across the ocean? Or do they stay and fight for a homeland they fiercely love, even when that homeland offers them no certainty? Yet, when the financial system collapses, the Argentine spirit does not break. It rebels. They do not choose despair. They choose connection, freeze-framing their economic anxiety through a sensory explosion of culture, food, and absolute devotion. Step away from the banks and follow the scent of smoke. This is an asado. Long before meat touches the grill, the charcoal must burn perfectly. The asador watches the wind, adjusting the embers with rhythmic patience. Fat sizzles and pops over hot coals, releasing an intoxicating aroma. As doors close and wine pours, the ticking clock of inflation stops. Nearby, a metal straw, a bombilla, is shared from a single gourd of bittermate tea. Passed from hand to hand on street corners, beaches, and university halls. This simple drink is a daily ritual of unconditional trust. On the move, the people eat choripan, juicy grilled sausage split inside crusty bread, drenched in tangy chimichurri. It is the fuel of football stadiums, protests, and backyard gatherings. It tastes like survival. When night falls, this raw reality is romanticized through music. In the crowded historic courtyards of poverty-stricken conventillos, the melancholy weep of the bandoneon accordion births the tango. It is a dance of dramatic pauses, sharp glances, and sudden, tense embraces. It takes the pain of exile and economic ruin, turning it into art. But the ultimate anesthesia, the true secular religion built upon these ruins, is football. In Argentina, you can change your house, your job, or your spouse, but you never change your football club. It is a lifetime vow. Look at Diego Maradona, the golden boy who crawled out of a brutal slum to single-handedly humiliate world empires on the pitch, restoring fierce national pride to a country shattered by the Malvinas War in 1986. Then, look at Lionel Messi. For 15 years, he carried the suffocating weight of 45 million fractured souls on his shoulders. When he finally lifted the World Cup in 2022, weeping tears of pure ecstasy, it was not just a sporting victory, it was a national salvation. This is the core paradox of Argentina, a country that produces the most brilliant tactical minds on the grass, yet continuously searches for a way out of the maze in real life. But a nation's identity cannot be sustained by sports and stadium lights alone. Behind the glorious myth of a European immigrant paradise lies a deeper, much darker history, a series of forgotten chapters carved in blood and stone. Long before Argentina had a currency, a capital, or even a name, humans were already leaving their mark on this earth. Deep in Patagonia, inside the quiet chambers of Cueva de las Manos, hundreds of negative handprints fade against the cold rock walls. They are thousands of years old, stenciled alongside ancient hunting scenes. They are lonely, haunting proofs of a people who belong to this land first. Further north, the jungle is slowly reclaiming the stone ruins of San Ignacio Mini. Once, this was a massive Jesuit Guarani mission where European architecture fused with indigenous artistry. When the system collapsed, the humans fled, leaving the massive trees and thick moss to swallow the stone arches whole. These ruins are metaphors for a darker displacement. In the 19th century, the state launched the brutal conquest of the desert. The government painted the southern plains as an empty wasteland, completely erasing the Mapuche and Tehuelche communities who lived there. Their land was seized, their families scattered, and their lives extinguished. This systematic erasure continued into the 20th century. At Napalpi in 1924, indigenous cotton workers protesting exploitative conditions were ruthlessly massacred by state forces. It took nearly a century for a court to finally look at the execution grounds and formally declare it a crime against humanity. The ghosts of Argentina do not just wander the distant provinces. They march right through the heart of the capital. In 1976, a brutal military dictatorship seized power, opening a horrific era of state terrorism. "30,000 people, students, journalists, activists, were systematically kidnapped, tortured, and vanished from existence without a trace. In the darkest hours of that terror, a group of brave women refused to be silenced. The mothers of the Plaza de Mayo tied white scarves around their heads and began walking in circles outside the presidential palace, demanding to know where their stolen children were. Today, those white scarves are painted onto the stone pavement, a permanent, heartbreaking reminder that beneath the grand European facades of Buenos Aires lies a soil soaked in unfinished grief. Yet, from these deep wounds rises an untamed, defiant thirst for freedom. It is a spirit born from the sheer flatness of the pampas, boundless grasslands where the only horizon is the sky itself. This is the realm of the gaucho, the legendary nomadic horseman who once ruled the plains. Although modern barbed wire eventually fenced in their pastures, their spirit of absolute independence remains untouched, preserved in the national imagination. You can feel this defiance on the asphalt, where ordinary labor is transformed into a statement of pride. Through fileteado, truck drivers paint their heavy vehicles with vibrant swirling lines, dragons, and witty poetry, turning chaotic highways into moving art galleries. Nearby, rural roots clash in the payador verbal duels, where two guitarists improvise biting, rhythmic poetry in a musical battle of wits that can last for hours. On these endless roads, faith belongs to the folk, not the church. Drivers pull over at roadside shrines buried under thousands of red ribbons to honor Gauchito Gil, an outlaw folk saint who protected the poor. At other bends, shrines for Difunta Correa are piled high with plastic water bottles, a collective offering to a tragic mother who died of thirst in the desert, yet miraculously kept her infant alive with her milk. In Argentina, when the state fails, the road provides its own salvation. As Argentina stands at the edge of a new era, the nation is caught in a fierce tug of war. The promise of immense wealth from global lithium exports and the radical economic reforms of President Javier Milei have sparked intense national debates over social welfare and environmental protection. Yet, beneath the political noise, the true soul of the country remains entirely unchanged. Imagine a young student standing at the frozen docks of Ushuaia, staring out at the dark waters of the Southern Ocean, wondering if they should sail away toward a stable future across the globe. This is the ultimate secret of Argentina. When tomorrow is a giant question mark, you do not stop living. You find salvation in the present moment. The people possess a rare, beautiful genius for romanticizing a harsh reality and continuing to love life fiercely, even when the ground beneath them shakes. The music of the bandoneon slowly fades into the night, but the hope never dies. Football does not cure inflation. A golden trophy cannot pay a nation's debt. But what the journey of Lionel Messi taught Argentina, after years of heartbreaking defeats before touching the sky, is the ultimate art of endurance. It proved that hope is a discipline, not an illusion. The people of this indomitable land do not run from the storm. They learn to dance in the rain, waiting for the clouds to break. If this journey into the beauty of Argentina stirred your soul, press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below.